my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we have some really interesting details for The Mandalorian Season 3. We're also going to be talking about Star Wars Eclipse and more. So as always, no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. On Rob Lowe's most recent Parks and Recollection podcast, Jim O'Heir said that he's currently filming a Star Wars project in New Mexico. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans are wondering, is this for Rogue Squadron, maybe another cinematic release, or one of the Disney Plus series? Well, Bespin Bulletin put all of the pieces together, and they're pretty sure it's for The Mandalorian Season 3. Let's dive into what they had to say. During a recently released episode of Rob Lowe and Alan Yang's Park and Recollection podcast, Jim O'Heir appeared as a guest, where the three of them reminisced on specific episodes of Parks and Recreation, the work that O'Heir is probably best known for. Later in the episode, Jim is asked what he's currently working on, to which he responds, "Oh shoot, I don't know if I'm allowed to say where I am. I can say a state, I'm in a state. New Mexico, I don't know." And that's before Rob Lowe chimed in and said, "I will say, Jim, I know what you're working on, and it rhymes with the latest installment of Bar Wars." Now, The Mandalorian typically films mostly in Los Angeles at Manhattan Beach Studios, and also at a train yard in El Segundo, so the move to New Mexico is pretty unexpected. To Bespin Bulletin's knowledge, at the train yard over the last couple of weeks, they've been shooting scenes with a ship and a campsite on a desert location. And Bespin say it's likely connected to what they needed to film in New Mexico. This also could tie into what Bryce Dallas Howard recently posted on Instagram. In January it was confirmed that she is back for Season 3 to direct another episode. But the other day, on her birthday, she was on set, and we do see a sandy location in the background. If this is also in New Mexico, then it's certain that Jim O'Heir is in The Mandalorian Season 3. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Jim O'Heir is best known for starring on Parks and Recreation as Jerry, but apart from that, he's also guest starred on a number of high-profile series. Based on this track record, we can probably assume his role in The Mandalorian will be quite comedic, and that is not unusual in the slightest for The Mandalorian, considering the wealth of comedic talent that's already appeared in the show so far. For example, Amy Sedaris as Pelimoto and Bill Burr as Migs Mayfeld. Now, The Mandalorian Season 3 is currently filming, but is due to wrap up this month, with the Ahsoka series starting filming next month. We don't have any news on the release date. It's currently rumoured for December the 28th of this year, but at the very latest, it might release in early 2023. We'll just have to wait for an announcement. And so now, my dear friends, an update for the Quantic Dream game, Star Wars Eclipse. The studio is still struggling to hire staff, and they're now aiming to release it in 2027. Now, I've said this before, I think this game is dead. It's just going to be one of those that never makes it to shelves. Let's dive into the report. According to journalist and video game insider Tom Henderson, Quantic Dream is reportedly struggling to hire staff to work on Star Wars Eclipse. Writing for Xfire, Henderson reported that Quantic Dream Paris is currently looking to hire 67 members of staff, 3 months on from when the studio was looking for 60. According to Xfire, the studio has been updating the publishing date shown on each of the job listings to make them appear more recent, meaning there are still likely unfilled positions dating back 3 months ago. And this, for Quantic Dream, is a disaster. According to the report, the Eclipse trailer was debuted so early in hopes of attracting more staff to the studio, but that did not go according to plan. At the time, they were aiming for a release date in 2024, but according to Tom Henderson, this is now moved to 2027, maybe even 2028. Now, you would assume this delay is due to the studio unable to attract the talent needed for the job, but it was previously reported by Henderson that the studio also faces issues with their Quantic Dream engine, as its architecture was apparently built for more confined levels with smaller areas, whereas with Star Wars Eclipse it's much more ambitious, with a multi-planet exploring title with open-world elements, and the Quantic Dream engine, according to that report, doesn't work for such an ambitious title, and this is one of the reasons the studio was looking to be acquired. Now, another thing that Henderson claims is the studio is also having issues with the multiplayer function, which was a major aspect rumoured for Star Wars Eclipse. But again, the problem is the studio has never attempted to make a title like this before. It would be their first multiplayer game. Now, one source of Henderson suggested that one of the reasons the trailer was shown so early was not just to attract gamers, but also potential buyers of the studio. So as I say, guys, things are not looking good for this game, and they're probably just going to end up pulling it. So finally, my dear friends, let's talk about the Kenobi series. Inquisitors have long been rumoured to be a staple of the show, and recently we learned about the third sister, the fifth brother, and the Grand Inquisitor. But I recently came across a really interesting article from the Direct, and they put forward a really interesting question: what other Inquisitors might show up? Well, one Inquisitor who is definitely out of the question is Trilla Seduri, the second sister, because she died in Jedi Fallen Order, which in the timeline takes place 5 years prior to the Kenobi series. One possible option is the seventh sister from Rebels, because her death isn't until 3 BBY, further down the timeline. But one possible pick, who I haven't seen too many people mention, is the menacing and awesome ninth sister. Now before you tell me that she was killed, the databank entry for Jedi Fallen Order states, or rather teases, that she did survive. The ninth sister is one of the most iconic characters introduced in the game, and much like the second sister, she had training from the Jedi Order in Coruscant prior to the Republic's transformation into the Empire. In the game, she was dispatched to Brekka along with the second sister to hunt Jedi, but later in the game she also appears on Kashyyyk, this time properly facing off with Cal Kestis, one-on-one. Cal defeats her and cuts off her right hand before launching her off a tall platform with the Force. Her fall is the last time we see her in the game, but as I said earlier, it's been more or less teased that she did not die on Kashyyyk. This leaves an opening for her to appear in a future project, most likely the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which we do expect an announcement for soon, or maybe even the Kenobi series. The Inquisitors are one of the things I'm most looking forward to, and the more the merrier. We could even see some new ones, but what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below. But otherwise, my friends, that brings us to the end of this news update. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and a huge welcome if you are. And if you want more videos that are not found here on YouTube while also contributing to the channel, then consider becoming a patron, and the link is down there in the description. But until the next one, guys, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a good one.